We are living in the age of technology. From AI to LED walls, is this good for creatives? Or is this the end of the artist that we know today? Personally, I've seen the CD Walkman and mobile devices turn into an iPhone, and have always been fascinated by how fast we have evolved. But just like every industry, we are forced to adapt. I'll be honest, this episode was originally about something totally different, but we led into this rant that we feel we all have to eventually face in our careers. So I would love to hear everyone's opinion on this matter, as we all know that this is the future of the industry. So welcome to the Apple Box Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lau, and I'm sitting across my co-host, Anthony Voltsinis. Let's get into it. Nowadays, everything's done, most of this high-end stuff is done through like LED volumes and like green screen and stuff like that, unfortunately. You know, like it's almost like everything's perfect, you know?
Yeah, that's a side note. I mean, I don't have any experience in that world of like high-end green screen, blue screen, you know, light walls. It's like, I want to feel the environment. I want to be there. I want to touch it. I want people to build it. Maybe it's old school. Maybe I don't know what it is.
I agree with you.
But it just feels more authentic. I remember listening to Cinematography Database, Matt Workman, and he had a podcast, I think, with Evan Borsier, maybe? Someone. Or Patrick. Yeah. Patrick O'Sullivan. Yeah. And they were talking about the future of the industry. This is years ago. Yeah. And Matt was like, I remember listening to that episode, and Matt was like, it's all going to be automated. DPs are going to be obsolete. It's going to be like all like machine learning. AI is going to be able to plot these diagrams for these scenes. And that's the future. And I was like scared because I wanted to be DP at the time. Yeah. I was like, what? Like, it was so dire. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, the more I think about it, I think the trend is towards that in some capacity, because it's like,
sadly, yes.
But for me, it's weird. But it comes down to money, and that's the industry.
It is the industry, and I think that's I don't know how to combat that. You know, in a lot of ways, like, who am I, right? Like I like, what can you really do other than just make the best of what's given to you right now? But like, at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think it is coming down to that point. I know that they've created, I don't know if you've ever heard of the camera. I forgot what it's called, LiDAR or something, like, because
LiDAR technology, is big.
LiDAR technology, right? But you created a camera. I don't know if you know about this. Years ago, that allows you, that it shoots it almost every single aperture range possible all in one. It's like using special type of lighting technology. Okay. I'm not going to pretend like I even understand what that is. Yeah. Right. So you can change the focal or the whatever, the depth of field after.
In post?
In post.
So it's like that's like next level raw.
Yeah, exactly. It's like next level raw. So they came up with this camera. They presented at NAB. Okay. And like, it was like, whoa, everyone couldn't wait for it. When it came out, it failed miserably. And they get canceled. In fact, it's almost like completely gone out of the internet. If you guys go on YouTube and look at what was it? Abandoned cameras.
Oh, so
they talk about all the abandoned cameras. Like, this guy does I think Film Voyager is his name or something like that. Amazing channel. I love that show. That's kind of sick. It's pretty cool, like, production value on it too, where he talks about cameras that were abandoned. And this was one of them. I remember hearing about this when I first got in the industry, and I was scared. I was like, holy shit, like, that's going to destroy all DP's work. Like, what's the point? Yeah. Right? If you can just do whatever. And I think it failed mainly because, one, it was like a big tank. It was very expensive. The camera was like $200,000, something like crazy like that. Jesus. And you can't buy it. You can only rent it. And it was so big that you can't really move it. It's not really like, you know. Yeah. And it did like 400 gigabytes a second or something like that. So the files were unmanageable. Oh, yeah. And then like, so post, no computer could handle it. So it had a lot of downfalls, and it disappeared off the face of the earth.
There's one in some warehouse somewhere.
But I have a feeling that if that technology still exists, it's probably coming eventually. I think Google bought it over. So Google bought it, and I don't know what they're using the technology for. Who God knows, right? But
I don't even want to know.
I don't even want to know. But it's true. Like, things like this are being created all the time, right? And unfortunately, I think that will enter the corporate world one day. I really think it will one day get to the point where it becomes automated, and that's sad.
Well, you're already seeing it on the at least on the copywriting side of things, like Chat GPT. It's creating
there's creating resumes for people. It's creating everything.
Blog posts, scripts for videos.
The first time ever, I don't know if you heard about this, but the first time ever, an automated AI bot is representing somebody in court as their lawyer.
I didn't see that. No. That's crazy.
What the hell is this?
Ryan Booth, for example. You follow Ryan Booth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like DP turned director in New York. He just posted recently, and this will be a while since this episode releases, but he posted, he was talking about Chat GPT and how he was asking the question, when treatments can be generated through AI, where do we draw the line in terms of the value of the director's actual vision?
Unfortunately.
And it's like, how does a marketing agency differentiate between an AI generated treatment and a director's like boutique handcrafted treatment? You know what I mean? And it's like, how is that going to level the playing field? How's it going to affect the industry? I don't know.
Well, ChatGPT, I forgot who it was, but a YouTuber asked ChatGPT, will AI take over artists' jobs, like a director or whatever? Okay. And ChatGPT said itself that it won't, because the nature of our work requires a human touch. That's something that AI cannot generate.
Yeah, but like a program would say that.
For now.
Yeah.
When it gets better and more like intricate, and it could start thinking like a human.
But it's just like they always say, right? No idea is new anymore. It's all been created.
Yeah.
So if this software, this AI can access this database of endless knowledge that's already been created, and AI and like IP, who's to say it can't pull from different ones and create something?
That's true.
And that's more powerful than any human could do. A human can't watch 10,000 movies, you know,
in like a split second.
And analyze it.
Yeah.
It's like we're just slower versions of machines. You know what I mean? Like this could get crazy.
It really could. And I think it was through years and years and years of generating information. And obviously they've collected all our data with like how we think. Like we literally program ourselves through our phone. Like we go and we not only influence from it, but then we also express through it, right? And it's data that's collected. So, you know, how does an AI collect information on how people think? Well, we do it every day. We give it information every time we post, every time we do something.
That's what marketing is at the end of the day.
It's what it is at the end of the day. Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, I think it will get to a point where it becomes so nuanced that it could probably take over a lot of the jobs. But at the same time, call me naive, but I truly believe in the spirit of filmmaking, that as artists, as human beings, we will crave a human touch in our work at all times. I think there's a reason why
I'm different.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why. Yes, obviously it's going to take over the market in some capacity.
Yeah.
Right? But like, there's a reason why no one goes around and says, you know, the Avengers is the most beautiful film ever made.
Right. That's what you're saying.
Even though it is beautiful, like in terms of a technical aspect, it's very beautiful. It's almost too perfect, right? Like these films are all perfect, right? So like you look and there's no reason why people think like that.
That's true.
And then also like, I feel like if there's nothing, like one of the biggest concerns in the industry right now is, and I don't know if this will change by the time this episode comes out, but like people talk about the death of the celebrity.
Okay.
Right? There's no celebrities anymore. If you really think about it, right? If someone plays Thor, who's Chris Hemsworth, right? If someone plays Thor, who's famous? Chris Hemsworth or Thor? You see Chris Hemsworth on the street, majority of people be like, hey, that's Thor. People are not like, hey, that's Chris Hemsworth.
I guess. I mean, I'm a bit different, but.
Right, but you probably because you appreciate the art more, right? But I'm talking like majority of people are not
looking
at are not looking at celebrity, rather they're looking at who they represent in the thing. And I think there's a little bit of an outcry. I would hope that, you know, there's more than I would know. There's a little bit of outcry of people wanting more like authentic stuff, you know, in a world that's feeling more and more disconnected by the day, you know. I'm hoping that voice gets louder, and I'm hoping that you know, keeps some of the spirit of filmmaking alive, because I think without human touch, I think there is no filmmaking. That's what we're seeing right now. Like I'm hearing a lot, and I'm not going to name any names or any productions, but I've heard inside sources myself from the people that I've known.
It's not like Alex Jones right now.
Am I?
I got some Alex Jones. You know, I got some.
Not really. I'm not talking about Lizardmen here or anything crazy. No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about him. But
Like, we just got the podcast completely canceled.
No, but like I've heard from inside sources, right, that in high-end TV shows, you've got like 4 DPs, and in those DPs, like, and again, like this is what I've heard, those DPs just personally have been said like they don't even know what they're doing there.
That's crazy
because they don't get a say in anything. They say they want to light it like this. One person comes in from either producer or an investor, walks in and says, nope, I want this.
You told me this.
You're done. Yeah. Like you have to do it.
That's crazy.
Right? Like there's nothing you can do. So like most DPs just stand around, do nothing. And they just kind of play DP. You know what I mean? There's 4 DPs on the show. I'm like, what? I didn't know about
for
this.
different units or just in general?
I have no idea. Again, I don't have experience in that level, right? I'm not at that level. So it's just crazy to me that like, that exists, but it's at that point, it's like, those shows that always feel like they're missing something are usually the ones that you hear that they had so much interference from like executives giving their opinions, or like, like Zack Snyder had to make director's cuts because he didn't like, the original version that the studio created.
Yeah.
I feel like there's that battle going on right now about like, keeping the integrity, if you will, of filmmaking versus, what's just business and just what people want and generated through numbers and
I mean, I don't follow it enough.
Yeah,
like all these streaming platforms and the marketing and the numbers behind it. But it's and especially theater chains, it's like crazy. It just seems like the industry is trending towards like we're doing anything and everything to survive and make sure this fucking ship doesn't sink. Because it's like a Titanic. Because it's like I don't know. There's so much content being created, but I feel like there's just like there's no middle ground anymore. It's like
I feel like it's probably because I think too many people have access to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, it's just like you go to a movie, it's special.
It's an experience. Yeah,
it's an experience, right?
Now it's like like
everyone has access.
Consumer attention spans and like I guess I don't know how to word it, but like it's just I think they're not impressed anymore.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'm bored now. I'm moving on. And like, I think that's new in some ways.
It is. You're right. I think that came probably from social media blowing
saturation,
up. Oversaturation of everything. But like, have you ever looked at like where they do like a video game from 1992 versus a video game from now? And then you're like, you don't even realize it happened, but wow, what a difference it is. I think movies are the same thing. It's like a movie for like CGI from like back then versus CGI from now. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like, kind of like dopamine. It's like the more you spike it, your body builds this tolerance, and it needs more.
Yes.
And it's like that's what's happening with content, and like especially this TikTok generation of stuff, which I'm not like for or against anything, but it's just interesting to see the trends. I'm an A24 guy. I want to see indie films. I want to go to the theater, and I want no one to be in there. I just want to chill and like experience it. I don't want to. The last thing I want to do is I want to watch movies at home on a TV or like on my phone. Like I just don't. It's not an experience.
You love the silver screen experience.
I want the popcorn. I want to go in and I want to feel nostalgic. I don't want easy. It's like working out at home. You know what I mean? It's like you can wander off. Like you're not appreciating it. You go to the gym. You're at the gym, man.
True.
I want to go to the theater. I'm just at the theater. My phone's not available. The phone is off. I have no friends talking to me. It's dark. It's just the theater. It's just the movie. That's for me movie magic. Fuck the rest.
Unfortunately, it's not very hard to come by these days.
Dude, I said if I ever become a millionaire, I'm opening a theater for myself. If anything.
In your own basement?
No, not in a house. It has to be in a building.
Okay.
Ideally in like a nice brick building downtown, old school.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And an old silver screen experience.
Box office, man.
Box office.
Yeah, but there's no good movies out these days. I didn't watch the first Avatar. I have no intentions to watch the second. I don't care.
Blowing up apparently. I haven't watched it, but it's apparently blowing up.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it's like I appreciate that stuff. Like it's part of the industry, and you have to know it and learn it.
There's a marvel to it too. Like there's like it's cool.
Whatever. Like I'm not hating against it, but I do miss the days of Scorsese, and I miss those days of like, even Nolan. I think was probably the tail end of really good storytelling, in my opinion. Like.
Well, what happened? Like when Hollywood kind of collapsed, I think in the late '60s, and then the George Lucases, the Francis Ford Coppola's, the Scorsese, they all kind of came out of that.
Spielberg and Tarantino's and
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Wes Anderson.
That was an era.
Yeah.
Now, like, who?
it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's sad because I think we're so focused now on creating great visuals and not creating good stories. And I think the visuals, you'll always compete, man, because they'll always advance. So you always have to compete with the machine or get to know the machine that creates those visuals. But a good storyteller, that never dies.
I think I agree. I think there will be a point where if the world resets in this way, ideally, the true core, like simple storytelling that is just honest and real will come back properly.
I freaking hope so, man. I freaking hope
That's what I like. I like watching like character pieces. I don't want.
Me too, man.
I mean, I like blockbuster like spectacle movies too.
Of course, Batman was great.
Oh, I love Batman.
Yeah, I love Batman.
But all this other stuff I see,
like
The Rock is in 20 movies. Like I don't like, bro. Like, please, like I'm sorry, I don't have anything against him or what he does, but those movies probably suck. I didn't watch them. I just have
they probably
suck. Like Jumanji and all these other things. Like they're like I don't know, maybe they're for kids, not for me. And I'm just hating. I'm just hating right now. I didn't see the movies. I should watch the movies first before I complain. But I go back. Like I was walking back past the Cineplex recently, and I'm like, I see all the posters. I used to be excited. Look what's coming soon.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that?
Exactly.
What is that trash?
I remember looking at the screen, like at the billboard, outside the theater, and be like, what movie's playing? Oh, what time? And you'd be like, oh, I want to see this one. I want to see that one.
Exactly.
And you create a plan, and it's like, that's gone, man.
Remember at Scarborough Town Center? We're so off topic on the corporate stuff.
I know. This is fine.
We're in no man's land now. But at the Cineplex and at SCC, they used to have that wall.
Yeah.
That had all the coming soons.
Yes.
I would literally look up with my brothers and be like,
oh,
yo, like
check
that's
out
coming
this poster and like
it was a simpler time. Maybe it's just naivety and like innocence, but I didn't have, I didn't have social media. I didn't have a phone back then. I didn't know
no one did
everything that was coming.
But that's the experience I think overall that that inspired us to get into this thing to begin with. And then we get caught up in corporate stuff instead and you get too caught up in that, and it's like, how do you find a balance between both and understanding how to adapt with the modern world, but at the same time relive that magic that inspired you in the first place?
Or you start to realize like that most of the machine is the machine, and as a kid you don't know
it is part of it. Yeah.
Part of the Matrix.
It really is.
Unless you go back to like the film, like I don't know, the neorealism of the in Italy and like the sort of those kind of niche. I guess auteur eras of filmmaking that were kind of really experimental and like I guess honest in some capacity, that weren't fueled by such big conglomerates and like.
Well, I mean, Matt Damon said it, right? I mean, he said the reason why movies can never come back. Those movies can never come back, and the reason is because like back then, a lot of the marketing comes from DVD sales. Now DVDs don't exist, right? They're sold over to streaming services,
right?
Therefore, like they can't justify funding these films anymore because they don't make money, right? They end up losing too much money. What makes money is what people pay to go watch in theaters or pay streaming services to watch. So they pay their $20 to watch Mulan or watch fucking Black Adam, whatever the fuck it is, right? Like people pay that money extra on top of the streaming service to watch those movies.
It made sense,
right? So like they make more money through that, through merchandise, it's
a business.
It's a business at the end of the day. So what ends up happening, what I really appreciate them doing, because I'm a fan of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, right? They grew up together.
They started their company, right?
They started their business, yeah, exactly. And their whole idea is to fund movies again.
Yeah,
and I really respect that cause. It
makes sense because they were kind of coming from.
That's how they started.
Yeah,
Good Will Hunting.
Exactly. So but then they got kind of sucked into the blockbuster world as well.
Yeah, of course.
Which is fine.
They were part of it. It's fine. It's part of the industry. I'm not saying that part has to die.
No.
I'm just saying it can coexist. I think. There's still a world and a crowd for that stuff that want that good storytelling.
But also, it's also like what's I find kind of sad is like I like blockbuster movies.
Yeah,
I feel like even the blockbuster has diminished in spectacle.
Yeah,
because it's like super saturated and like it's like expected now.
How much more? Yeah, crazy can it get from where it is right now? They tried 3D. I don't think 3D really blew up. Weird. Right? They're trying out like how much more can you get? Like how much better can you get?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like it's a weird time, man.
Yeah, it's a weird time, but I'll say it here, and maybe I'm wrong. Fine, I don't care, but I stand by it. I think real filmmaking in my eyes, which is great storytelling, classic days of the Scorseses and Wes Andersons and so on. I think that will be in demand again. I think that will come back. I think character pieces are going to be searched for. And the reason why I say that, and I mark my words here in this podcast today, the reason I say that is because the way the world is moving right now, people are feeling more and more isolated by the day. I feel like nobody, as much as we are connected through social media, it's made us feel a lot more disconnected. And I think at some point that dopamine is going to run out. The idea of scrolling through fast things, that's going to exhaust itself. People are going to be fatigued from fast entertainment, and everyone's going to want to slow down. I think everyone's going to want to slow down and realize that they're going to want to desire more of a human connection through work. Now, that seems wild, and right now it might seem very hard to believe, but I think the reason why we even trended down this way, it's almost like when social media came out, we're reaching like the point where we're addicted, right? Which we are, right? Like we're addicted to social media. And then eventually you realize, oh shoot, like I need to almost, what's the word for it? Cleanse myself.
Well, you hear
from the addiction.
Yeah, I mean, you hear all these people like doing the social media cleansing and like taking a month off of not. Of
it's becoming a trend.
But the thing is, I don't know, man. I don't believe. I think the system is so, like, it's so ingrained. It's like
too powerful.
Unless there's a mass like enlightenment and like willingness to like step back. I can't imagine like when I remember I didn't have a phone until I was like 13. I mean, no, 16. Mm-hmm. What was I doing? Like was I living? Like I don't. What
we don't even remember what it's like to play in your front yard anymore.
Yeah, like I feel like I think there's so much money and there's so many businesses that are dependent on social media and like this really internet integration of our lives, which it's been like valuable to us, but like, is it healthy? There's an argument against that. I think it's pretty strong as well because it is conditioning us to not feel correctly anymore. I think it's messing up with our hormones and not hormones, like the chemicals in our brain, like dopamine.
We need to
like
be
serotonin.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like it's almost like immediate satisfaction, right? Anything you want, you can get at the palm of your hand immediately. If I wanted to talk to you and have a connection with Anthony, I just have to text you. Whereas before, I would need to actually go to your house and be like, hey, you want to go to the park together and hang out.
Or knock, is Danny home today?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's not home, he went out?
Exactly.
I gotta go find him, like, you know what I mean?
But there's a natural, like, our being likes, like, that service is a part of our basic instincts, I guess, right? And then when it's all at the palm of your hand, what was that quote that I read the other day? It was almost like the world of, like, porn. Like, porn is so accessible that like every person, by the time they reach a certain age, which is a really young age, by the way, you've seen more naked women or men than a king back in the day ever have.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it is true because like everything's accessible. So like sex, money, social, whatever interactions are all accessible. So it's kind of like movies, even entertainment, right? So like, I think that's affecting us as people. And I think that's driving the market in this industry and how our industry is marketing itself. And I just think that eventually we'll get tired of it.
I hope so.
I honestly maybe I'm optimistic, but like I really do believe that the spirit of filmmaking is going to make its way back despite how gloomy everything looks. Now, I want to make myself clear. I'm not saying that part of the consumerism is going to die. No, I think it's always going to be there.
It's essential as well.
It is essential as well. Exactly. And I think, blockbusters are still going to be made and shitty movies are still going to be made and spectacles are still going to be made. I'm not saying that's going to die. I'm just saying that I think the audience for the other side is going to be eventually back into the mix.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I guess we'll see. I mean, only time will tell, right?
You gotta earn the theater, man. You gotta earn the movie. You can't just be like, oh, I'm bored. I'm putting on this $200 million movie now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you have to. I feel like it's an experience you have to like earn in some capacity. Like if it's so accessible, it just numbs you to it. So
it is because look, you go through Netflix, you have so many options. Hundreds, if not thousands, of movies are on Netflix. Mixed with Amazon Prime, mixed with Crave, mixed with whatever you have, Hulu, Disney, whatever. You mix it all up. Back in the day, you go to the theater, you got like 10 movies you got to choose from.
Yeah.
Right. And that just felt so much better because you felt like I got to choose the right movie today. You know, like I really want to watch this. Or
I agree.
You know, and nowadays it's just become oversaturated. And I think it's just, I guess we'll see, man. We'll see how it affects everything.
We're two guys in a storage.
We're two guys. Yeah, exactly.
We're just trying to collect the buck and do some cool stuff.
We're trying to do some cool stuff and then hopefully service the industry in a positive way. That's all that we can do. But yeah,
and if it all goes to shit, I'm gonna go build a cabin somewhere and live off the land with some, and that's it. So.
Or just do corporate videos. You know, who knows?
Maybe
until
real estate again.
Go back to real estate.
I don't know. The more I look into Facebook ads and advertising in general, it's like all of it makes sense. You know?
Yeah. All
this retargeting and like, I used to be like the guy. I was like, how do they know I was thinking about this? It's pretty easy.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like it makes sense. It's where we stand on it and the morals and principles, a whole other conversation. Like everyone has their own opinions on that.
Yeah.
Right. And they're entitled to it. But in terms of just the general climate of things, yeah, it makes sense.
Dude, this episode was fried. Like we were all over the place.
I know. It goes from corporate into AI and into the
movie
future of the industry. I want to say the conspiracies. I think they're rather true.
More like concerns and
observations. Observations, not necessarily even concerns. I wouldn't say.
But I want to say I am not I'm not an expert in the industry in terms of like I don't know like the money being spent on these movies and what the audiences are and the retention. I don't study all that, and I also don't.
But you don't have to be.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if what I'm saying is accurate, right? In terms of like, our audience is happier or like the studio's doing better. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, none of us know. None of us actually know. Yeah. All of us have an idea of what it might be, but none of us actually know.
It's more of I'm just like, I'm speaking like, I'm just feeling.
Yeah. I mean, this is just our perspective from how we see it.
Yeah, exactly.
From our current situation, right?
And our vantage point.
And yeah, I mean, take it however you want to take it. But,
yeah,
at the end of the day, happily admit that I hope some of the stuff I'm saying is wrong.
Yeah, it helps. You're seeing some things that are more positive. Hopefully they're right.
And hopefully the positive stuff is right. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But anyway, yeah. So
corporate, you could end it. I don't know.
I don't know how to end this thing because we just went off on a totally different.
We lost about 50 subscribers. Whoever we had they're gone. So.
No, I think it's a fascinating conversation because I think it's
I think a lot of people talk like this.
A lot of people really. People know this is what's happening. People have their own opinions, and again, if you disagree or you agree, leave your thoughts, leave the comments or whatever YouTubers say.
Engage.
But really, like honestly, like we'd love to hear people's thoughts on it because I don't know, maybe we're wrong, right? Great, if we're wrong,
yeah, for
amazing,
sure.
Right? But if you have a more positive, even more positive outlook than I do, great, share it. The world needs it,
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you hate everything, then who cares? Write whatever you want.
They probably stopped watching at this point.
Yeah, no one makes it to this point anyway.
No, not at all. Anyway,
all right.